Jackass was an integral part of 2000s culture. There was something about it. It was like lightning in a bottle. It's very hard to describe the phenomena, and it's going to be a lot harder to describe to the upcoming generations whenever they eventually find out about it. You know, there was just something about these disgusting, trashy, just deviant stuntmen hurting themselves in all these different weird and wacky ways that really sort of resonated with the youth of those days. And it resonated with me, admittedly. Even as young as I was when I first laid eyes on this series, I can maybe set the scene for you here. That'd be a good way to start this video off. You see, I remember being around 7 or 8 years old, and I was in Missouri. Now, the thing about Missouri is that's where my aunt and my cousin and my great aunt, my great uncle, all of them lived. And, you know, it was not the civilized part of Missouri. They would put up road signs and they would disappear overnight, or they'd get shot at or something like that, you know? One good rain would come and you would be stuck there for a while because of all the flash flooding. And there weren't even dirt roads there. There were just rocks, all right? Not even gravel. I'm talking big rocks. You had to drive obscenely slow on these roads or you were going to be taking a risk, you know? But I digress. So I was sitting, and well, not sitting, sleeping. I was sleeping on my aunt's couch, as I did several times whenever I was a kid. And I was awoken one particular night, by my cousins laughing. Now, it was my first cousin and my second cousin. They must have been around 18 hereabouts, you know, like late teens hereabouts. So I'm woken up by them trying to stifle their laughter and failing miserably at it, mind you. And I didn't know what they were laughing at, but, you know, I'm very young and I just woke up here and I don't really know what's happening, but I saw that they were watching a movie. And as my eyes adjusted, as I slowly but surely was able to get the sand out of my eyes, I started looking and I saw, wouldn't you know, lo and behold, a bathroom. And it was just a stationary bathroom, just a picture of a bathroom, and it seemed to stay like that for I don't know how long, just a very long time. I didn't know what was happening. And then it happened. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, a log fell from the ceiling. A log, you know, a turd. It fell just from the sky. I didn't know what was happening. They both busted out laughing and again tried to stifle it very quickly so that I'm assuming, you know, the aunt would not wake up. But it woke me up and it kept me awake, and I would drift in and out of sleep around this time, and eventually I just would get little glimpses here and there of the movie that they were watching. Eventually a couple hours pass and I wake back up again to see them playing Guitar Hero 2, and I look at the stack of games and movies that they had with them, and I saw very clearly Jackass 2. And this just sort of started my curiosity with it, because not only was there this disgusting, strange movie of people like doing all these weird acts and like hurting themselves, but it had a name that I was not allowed to say because, you know, I was a kid and that is a swear word. You can't say jackass. So eventually I got to the point where it was like the next day and I started asking my cousin about the movie, and he was really lax on the details. He didn't really tell me much, and that just made me want to know more about it, you know, because it's like this little treasure trove of forbidden information. You're watching something that you're not supposed to watch, you know, you're going down this rabbit hole that whether or not it might be dangerous, who knows, you know. I was incredibly curious as to what it was. And I'm certain that a lot of kids my age were too whenever they first saw their glimpse of it, because, you know, it was one of those movies that was like unrated, alright? The movie they were watching was unrated, which means that really no kid my age, no one under the age of 17 was allowed to watch that, you know. It's just amazing. And I remember, like, as I got older, I was still very interested in Jackass and all of the surrounding culture around it. All the characters who were in there, you know, all these weird little members and whatnot, you know, Knoxville and Wee Man and Preston and Bam specifically, Bam Margera. That was one thing. Like I said, I was disgusted, horrified by everything I was watching, but I was also hooked. And Viva La Bam, that was the one series that they felt was relaxed enough that I could probably watch it with no repercussions. And I mean, you know, that was better than nothing. So I remember watching a lot of Viva La Bam purely because I saw Jackass 2 or a couple of clips from it whenever I was a kid. And Viva La Bam, now that was just something else entirely. That was amazing. I didn't know what it was. Maybe it was all the camera lenses that they had where everything was sort of like in a fisheye lens, those little strange cameos, like they had Guar on there a couple of times. Maybe it was the way that he was always messing with like Ape and Phil and Vito and whatnot. Maybe it was just all the antics that he was getting up to. Like that time they found that Civil War cannonball and then they decided that they were going to have their own little Civil War and whatnot. The state of Bamland and all that. It was a very interesting series. And, you know, whenever I think about the Jackass series, and I've been thinking a lot about it recently because they did come out with a new trailer. I just sort of get really, really nostalgic for, the good old days. I've said time and time again that this whole good old days thing is just looking back on stuff with rose-tinted glasses, but I mean, you had to be there, man. You had to be there. I still watch, the old Jackass films sometimes, and I will admit I do get incredibly nostalgic. There's just something about it. Like I said, it's lightning in a bottle, and you can't ever hope to emulate it. But, they're making a new Jackass movie. It's called Jackass Forever, which, it's the 4th movie, and I don't think it's going to be the same, if I'm being completely honest. I don't even think. I know it won't be the same, because there's just so much that's different. I mean, think about it. They're old. All right, they're old and they're incredibly fragile, so they're gonna have to tone it back a little bit on at least the physical aspects, because while they are all stuntmen to a degree, or at least they've been doing these crazy things for a long enough time that they should at least be honorary stuntmen, it's okay, I'll say it like this: Johnny Knoxville broke his urethra, all right, in the 2nd movie, and he has to use a catheter now to piss. That is not good, all right? And he's old enough that I don't even think he necessarily, he needs less and less makeup to look like Irving Sisman as time goes on. We're getting to the point where Johnny Knoxville is a couple years away from actually being the bad grandpa, all right? It's getting a little bit absurd is what I'm trying to say. And think about Bam specifically. Think about Bam. He's not even going to be in the new movie, all right? And if he is, it's just going to be for a couple of scenes, because he's too far gone off the deep end. I mean, more and more he's gaining weight, and he's on some sort of drugs, And think about it. I'm thinking that the level that Bam is at right now, where enough people have tried helping him and just he refuses to get help, I'm almost certain that he is just a lazy eye and a sex offense from being Don Vito. And I mean, okay, well, Steve-O, he's probably the best at everybody, because Steve-O, well, he was into some crazy, crazy things. He was an addict for several years of his life, and he sobered up. And you know what? I have nothing bad to say about that, because he took charge and he actually fixed his life for the better. He is sober. That is incredibly good for him, all right? But then there's also the fact that Ryan Dunn has been dead for 10 years, all right? Ryan Dunn has been dead for an awful long time. Ryan Dunn is not going to be in the movie other than maybe some credits at the end where they say maybe memorializing him, Everyone is just way, way, way more different than they were whenever they started, and they're way too old. And I understand that they're going to bring in some new people. I understand that Eric Andre, he's in the trailer. And I mean, Eric Andre, yeah, he's got some funny stuff, but is that really going to be enough? I mean, I keep looking at people who bring this up. I bring this up to everybody because I enjoy talking about Jackass. I enjoy talking about movies. I enjoy talking about stuff like this. But I've had several people tell me that it just does not look the same, does not feel the same, and they keep telling me that it's sort of sanitized. It looks like maybe it has to be that so that they don't kill themselves on accident. Maybe it's just a little more corporate feel, because you can't do some of the things that you used to be able to do on there. It's definitely not going to be the same, and I definitely I don't know how to feel about it is what I'm trying to say, I maybe it's just me getting older, maybe it's just me getting more cynical, maybe it's just me, thinking that there needs to be something to replace it in the modern era, and knowing that there's not going to be anything that can replace it in the modern era. All I'm trying to say is it's yeah, so they're making a 4th Jackass movie. This is definitely going to be the last one unless they get an entire new cast, which is probably not going to happen. They're making this new one, and I'm probably going to go watch it in theaters, admittedly. I'm going to go and see it in the theater whenever it comes out, just because I need some closure, all right? It's not going to be as good as any of the first 3 movies. It's not going to be as good as any of the stuff that they put on TV or anything like that. I don't know if it's going to be good at all, but to be completely and totally honest with you, I'm still going to go see it in theaters, because, I mean, I got to see it. I just got to do it. Either way, the movie's coming out, I'm going to watch it, and don't really know what to expect. Well, that's been it for this video. If you like this video and you want to see more like it, well, I mean, I upload daily, so why don't you go check out some of that. Why not why not subscribe? Really helps me out. If you'd like to check out my Twitter, it's twitter.com/Hale_Keezer. I think that's it for this video. I've been Keezer. I've never been good at outros. I'll see you next time.